Hi, I'm Tyler, and welcome to another episode of my Christian Music Week reviews. Each week I take 5 releases, LCPs or singles, and after I listen to them all week, I come back here and I review them. I share what I think about them. So without further ado, let's get to this week's first release, Newsboys' new album, Stand. Newsboys' new album, Stand. Let's dive into it. So, pretty good album here. Stylistically, definitely got a pop rock feel overall, but some tracks do lean more towards the pop side of things. We also see gospel influence sprinkled into a couple of songs too. And the title track, Stand, definitely has a worship feel to it. And as for the instrumentation here, we have bass guitar, bass, drum, and synth as main instruments. But we do have piano as well on some of the songs as well. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here. Michael Tate talks about how even when he can't see it in the valley, God's love is faithfully there with him and loving him through it. And God's love is also faithfully turning the old ashes into new beauty. Up next, Andy Mineo's sequel to his EP Neverland II. Andy Mineo's Neverland 2, the follow-up to his sequel to his 2014 EP Neverland. Let's dive into it. So pretty good album here. Stylistically, definitely a hip-hop release that mixes between the hard-hitting bangers, the danceable tracks, and even some more chill tracks too. Pop and alternative elements are also inserted here. Actually, the song Nobody Coming doesn't really have any very much hip hop elements in it at all, other than the auto-tune rapping sample. Samples are used quite a bit on this album too, by the way. Nobody's Coming kind of sounds more like a Switchfoot power ballad. So I found that kind of interesting, kind of neat. And as for the vocals here, we have rapping mainly, but as the main one, but there's some singing, rapping, and singing as well. And as for the lyrics here, touched on some different themes here. Andy talks about how he hopes the tragedy was in the last year, and also the tragedy of his dad having left him when he was a child has him falling into God's hand. Starts out the album talking about that. And then he also talks about working hard and pursuing his dreams even when the naysayers' pride got them covering up their insecurities. And then the second half of the album mainly talks about him and his wife trying to use the year off due to the pandemic, trying to work on their relationship, and the ultimate need to rely on God for that. Up next, Terrian's new single. So before I dive into my request of Terrian's new double single, Wake Up, let me just say this came across a request from You Can't Have It, the Riley Girl. Thanks, You Can't Have It, the Riley Girl, for your request. Nice username there, as I like Riley Clemens also. And Headspace is a pretty good song. Now, let's dive into my thoughts on Terrian. So, the first song is her new song, Wake Up, which has a pop and R&B feel. Piano and bass at the start of the song, and then acoustic guitar and drum turns up the song a little bit in the chorus, and then toward the end we see electric guitar insert. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here. She talks about how she needs God to wake her up from apathy and how it'll be alright as soon as she takes the first step. And then Light It Up acoustic version is an acoustic version of her song Light It Up, which was on her EP earlier this year, which I also reviewed on this channel, so you can go back and check that out as soon as I'm done. And this is kind of a softer version of that song, considering kind of more of a pop ballad, considering the original version was pretty upbeat. And as for lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here too. Talks about when she's confused how she needs Jesus to light up her way. Up next, Young Pop Renegades, Origin, Volume 1. The new compilation, Young Pop Renegades 2021, Origin. Let's dive into it. So, let me explain what this is. So, this is a compilation thought up by Matthew Parker. And on this compilation, he includes several Christian pop and EDM producers and artists, including himself, Neon Feather, Sejan Norial, and others. Now let's dive into this album. So, pretty good album here. Stylist instrumentally, we have synth, bass, piano, and guitar here. And as for the lyrics here, kind of talks about this guy who wants to be in love with this girl and also chasing his dream, but it also talks about his challenges of understanding of who he is and being who he is as well. Up next, our last release for today, Roy Tosh's new album, We Still Believe. Roy Tosh's new album, We Still Believe. Let's dive into it. So, pretty good album here. Stylistically, definitely got a pop and hip-hop feel here. Instrumentally, synth, piano, and bass. We also have acoustic guitar on a few of the songs, bass guitar on a couple of songs, and electric guitar on We Still Believe. And vocally, rapping and singing what dominates the day. But we also have some straight up rapping later on in the album. Also, a couple of the later songs on the album have some worship elements to them too. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here. Roy talks about how when he fights but feels trapped, he looks to the God whose love has never failed him, and also waits on God, who will make a way in his timing. Roy talks about still believing and looking to God even when the rest of the world freaks out. Which, the lyrical themes here make a good point. We can look to God as Christians even when the rest of the world freaks out over what would freak out over what we go through in our lives. Well, that's it for this week. Come back next week for 5 more releases. If you like what you saw in this video, please subscribe. I put out videos every Friday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Also, if you have any thoughts on today's releases or what I said about them, let me know that in the comments below. Also in the comments, you can let me know if there's any awesome releases today that you want to see in next week's video. Also, check out the playlist section for my Music Muffin Dreams playlist, available here on YouTube and also on Spotify. This month's edition includes songs from artists like Mike's Chair, Aaron Schust, and others, so go and check that out if that sounds like something you're interested in. Well, go now. See you next week. Bye!